Welcome. Let's talk integrative psychotherapy. CIP, Certificate in Integrative Psychotherapy. What is the course about? Why have we brought this concept together in this particular course? Well, I think it's fair enough to say that the world has certainly become more so since the pandemic. In a global world at the moment, we are connected globally, and that means we are connecting with a whole host of diverse cultures. We've got many influences that are being shared with us. So we have social influences, cultural influences, beliefs, identities, something that we really need to be aware of, but what identity means, and something that we do cover within the course. Sexuality, an area that some people don't consider as part of integrative psychotherapy and the influence it could have. Likewise, families, likewise, relationships, they all have impact on the therapy journey. So these all have direct effect and an indirect effect on the therapy journey. And by looking and exploring these elements, we are helping ourselves as practitioners to bring those particular relevant experiences together in the therapy process, and also to be able to understand a person coming for therapy. We may have different therapy tools that we can use. My prime therapy tool, psychotherapy tool, is hypnotherapy, but I also have ego state therapy, MDR, CBT, various other elements that I bring in an integrative nature. So I'm presented with a person coming to me for therapy that is a unique person in this world. And so they have a unique journey to resolution of whatever problem they're presenting with. And through integrative psychotherapy, I can look at that person, work with that person, and adapt my approaches, bring them together, share them, whatever we need to do to help my client achieve the outcome that they're looking for. So we're recognizing as therapists that we've gone probably beyond a one technique approach to work with people. Within each technique, there are different routes of helping somebody, but we can move and create various different techniques. Now, everyone here has your own trainings. Everyone here has their own particular backgrounds with regards to what they're bringing to their therapy. And as I say, the point of integrative psychotherapy is to look at each and every one of these and think, how can these be used together individually? What do I need to drop in order to help that particular person reach their therapeutic goal outcome? At the same time, understanding the person as opposed to just the symptom from lots of different contexts. So the course itself, it's a standalone course in its own right. People can come on the course, find out about integrative psychotherapy, look at how they can adapt integrative psychotherapy to their own particular uses, needs, the various techniques that they have. And with integrative psychotherapy, we're not just sitting talking about psychotherapy per se. We're looking at any particular way in which, or skill that you have that can help the client achieve an outcome. This is also a required module in our Advanced Practitioner Diploma in Integrative Psychotherapy. The GAP-DIP course is a complete diploma level qualification in its own right with integrative psychotherapy. CIP, the integrative psychotherapy course that we're talking about, open to all trained psychotherapists. So just so that you know what the APDIP, or the Advanced Practitioner Diploma in Integrative Psychotherapy, consists of, we've got a course known as the ABPP, the Addictive Behaviours and Psychological Pain course. That's a very hypnosis-oriented course, so it's open to hypnotherapists only, the only one of those these courses that is. With the ABPP, we're looking at addictions, we're looking at psychological pain, so end-of-life experiences, we're looking at working with people who are going through deeper depressions and so on. We've been running this course for many, many years. It's part of our, a lot of this delivery was part of our master's degree program that we used to run with the University of West London. Our EMDR course, very popular course. We have also ego state therapy. Ego state therapy is parts dissociation deluxe, and that doesn't really give too much about what ego states are. It's like a real family therapy for the brain. And we do have a preview coming up for this particular course, so you might want to check out our website, or Riska and Nazrat will send some information to you about it if you're at all interested in that. And it's interesting, EMDR and ego states do join together very, very nicely. There is an increasing overlap being shown with regards to that. We also have our CBT course. It's CBT skills. It comes from the REBT approach to CBT. That's open to all psychotherapists. And then, of course, there's this particular course that we're talking about here, which is open to everyone, all psychotherapists. Now, to get the Advanced Practitioner Diploma in Integrative Psychotherapy, you need to do the EMDR plus the Ego State Therapy plus the Certificate in Integrative Psychotherapy plus either CBT or the ABPP course. You can do both if you want, but those are the required courses, and then there is a final examination at the end with regard to that. Just also to point out, these are all individual courses in their own right as well. So if you wanted to do EMDR, ego states, ABPP, CBT, you can do it as an individual course. Don't have to do it as part of the APDIP program. With the Integrative Psychotherapy course, the course is delivered over live virtual sessions. We are a very international course. We have people joining us from around the world. So our sessions are live virtual sessions. They are held at weekends, and it's usually 4 hours per day, a Saturday and a Sunday, although we do have an introduction to the course, and that is a 1 hour midweek session, just so that you're aware of that. And we also have our learning zone. You use the Moodle learning system. We've been using Moodle for a long, long time. So we have our own learning zone element within that. And in there, you've got a lot of resources. So you've got pre-module learning, elements to read, to look through, and videos to watch. Also a space to engage with each other in there. So you can have discussions. We've got certain elements in there where we ask you to reflect on elements of the course, but it also gives you a chance to reflect on the learning material prior to coming into a live session. And in so doing, you're going to come in a little bit more prepared, questions you can ask and so on. By nature, the course is designed for reflective learning. So it's not really didactic learning in the sessions that we run. And didactic learning is where I kind of tell you this, and this. With this course, we present an idea, usually via the learning zone. We will just lay it out a little bit at the beginning of the weekend, but then we go into discussions, we go into reflections, we present case histories that will allow you to then in groups discuss how you would work with that session, or the impact that a particular case history may have on you as a therapist, and how you will be able to work with that. They are challenging case histories, I will let you know. They're not sort of simple, straightforward ones. They're all based around real case histories. We have permission to use them, but they're also they are challenging. You're likely to meet potentially these types of issues as a therapist. And we do make no excuse. The material is deliberately challenging because as therapists, psychotherapists, whatever our background is, we will be challenged by certain things, certain lifestyle choices, certain identities that people have, sexualities, family setups, and so on. And so the space to reflect and to discuss personal issues that are relevant to what we're teaching and relevant to the class is also given. It's a very safe environment that we present for you. And it is modular learning, so each module builds on, and we'll go through briefly what the modules are for you in a moment, builds on the previous module or the previous modules. So each is a learning opportunity in its own right, but then you build on that, build on that, build on that as we go through the various modules in the certificate integrative psychotherapy course. There is an 80% live attendance requirement. We do record each live session. They are there for you to refer to later. These don't replace attendance. What we do is we do look to see if we can create replacement classes for you as well. The course is examined through continuous observation, so the various lecturers will be observing how you're integrating within the group discussions and so on. And also there's a final MCQ, a multiple choice questions open book, so you can go in there with your material just to make sure you understand the material that we're presenting. And just, I did say this is a space where you will be able to open up, talk and discuss. It is a confidential space. So the overview that we have for the course, going through the various modules that we do have. So module 1 in the course, the first weekend, is the introduction to IP, introduction to what integrative psychotherapy is. It basically sets the framework. So we are looking at several elements that are brought together under this heading of integrative psychotherapy. So we have the 4 pillars of psychotherapy themselves that we will be looking at. So those include CBT, psychodynamic approaches, humanistic approaches, and also family systems approaches within this concept. So the concepts that are there, we will also be looking at something very much at the heart of this, obviously, the 4 pillars of integrative psychotherapy. Now, what that is something called theoretical integration, technical eclecticism, we love our terminologies here, common factors, and also this thing called assimilative integration. So this makes much more sense when you look at this in context. So we've also got the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. I think you can't go through medicine now without becoming aware of what's called lifestyle medicine. It's a massive movement, a global movement that is happening. No longer are they looking at medicine as the treatment of somebody coming to a doctor as just cut or give a pill. They're looking at a wide variety of elements that's bringing integrative psychotherapy into it. It's happening here, certainly where I'm based in the UK. It's happening in Malaysia. It's happening in Singapore, Australia, around the world. Increasingly, lifestyle medicine is being brought in. And we're looking at things like nutrition, a very important element of it, physical activity, and we're looking at sleep, the importance of sleep. We're looking at stress management, within that, within relationships, and also within substance abuse. So lifestyle medicine looks at these, and anyone within the world of psychotherapy will recognize what I've just said has a direct link to psychotherapy. Nutrition, helping people to readjust their behaviors with regards to the foods they eat. Substance abuse, alcohol, cigarettes, or narcotic substances, and we can certainly work with that, and so on. So they're all brought together. And what we do is we look at these pillars. 4 pillars of psychotherapy, 4 pillars of integrative psychotherapy, 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, and we work to create an integrative psychotherapy session framework. So what we mean by that is we look at it, and for people who are practitioners, we look at the start of the course to open up what an integrative psychotherapy session would look at, go through the various levels of the IP course itself, and then in the last session we're looking at how you can then take that information and really create your own frame for working with somebody or understanding how to work with somebody. So module 1, we set the frame. Module 2, we are very much looking at cultural intelligence in therapy. Therapy can't exist without a frame of culture within which it will reside. And there are so many different cultures around the world. There are cultures within cultures, subcultures, even down to the culture of your family that you are in. These all play a role potentially within psychotherapy. So we start looking at the concept of psychotherapists, people working with others, having cultural intelligence. So being able to understand objectively other cultures that are being brought to them. Yes, I'm sitting here in the UK and I'm in England. If I look up to Scotland, there's a different culture up there, different way of living. If I look to whenever I come over to Malaysia to see my colleagues and to see students there, very different culture. And it's understanding therapy from that cultural perspective. Psychotherapy of all of these are not a one-size-fits-all approach. We're looking at the biopsychosocial, we love that, those words, biopsychosocial and mind-body-spirit assessment tools. Basically, we're looking at how the social culture in which someone lives is affecting the mindset, is affecting biology as well. We're also not ignoring spiritual culture. Now, spiritual culture is not just about religion. Let's remember that religion is part of spirituality, but there are many different concepts within spirituality that we will look at as part of this, and hopefully help people to understand and how that relates. We also, those of you who've done neuro-linguistic programming, we've got the meta model, just a reminder of that, because what we're looking at is ways in which we can help explore the culture within which our client lives. And remember, these cultures, I see people from around the world now as a psychotherapist sitting here in my little village in the heart of Essex in England, but I see people around the world. So I have to understand culture. I have to understand the person. I don't have to, but it is good to understand the person's culture. And so we've got an element here of using culture-focused questions to gently find out, without seeming like an interrogation or without us seeming a bit stupid about somebody else's cultural background. There's some really useful questions that we will bring into this to explore a culture, and also how the culture affects their presenting issue. We've got Module 3, Parts 1 and 2. So we've got 2 elements within Module 3. You've got the influence of race, the influence of gender and sexuality in therapy. What these 2 parts are all about is personal identity, understanding personal identity within the therapeutic context. So we're looking at, from an objective perspective, the concepts of sex, the concept of gender, and the concept of sexuality. We are objective. We discuss this. We will highlight the controversies and the issues that are being discussed out in the world, but we need to have an understanding an objective understanding of what these mean, and also an objective understanding of what this means to the person that we're working with. Like, we've got the issue of managing issues of gender and sexuality in therapy. What does it all mean? And as part of that, we've got to recognize that it may trigger something within us, the therapist, that might need exploring. And that's very, very important that we have those discussions. And issues surrounding these elements as well. So we've not just about sexuality and gender identity, what it means to be heterosexual, homosexual, what it means to be bisexual, to be pansexual, whatever. We need to understand those, but we also need to understand the external issues that might be affecting our client, but also any issue we may have with something like this. So it gives us a chance to open up our worldview as therapists as well. And also managing issues of race in therapy, understanding different racial backgrounds, understanding how race affects people's experience within therapy. And also, it seems surprising that we need to address this, but microaggressions, racist comments within psychotherapy, the role that the therapist may have with their own racial issues and their prejudices coming through, which may be addressed as microaggressions, tiny little interactions that can be considered racist or overt racist comments in psychotherapy. So we do have an exploration with regard to that. Module 4, we're then building forwards, we're looking at families and relationships. So the role of a family, the role of an interpersonal relationship within a client's presenting issues. So what is the role of a family? How is the family influencing the client's experience of life, the client's experience of their problem, and the client's journey to resolution? So also within that, how interpersonal relationships, intimate relationships, and relationships that slowly move out from that. So we do look at creating genograms. So with genograms, we get to understand the family and the influences that have brought somebody to where they are at that moment in their lives. And look at that. We look at creating your own genograms, how to guide someone through it. We'll look at the systems approach, family systems approaches. So the interactions that have been passed down from generation to generation to generation that we all accept as part of our family culture. But looking at how that has an influence and also how we can work with that to allow our clients, allow the people we're talking to gain a greater understanding. So we look at what's called circular questioning. So we look at this thing called interconnectedness within a family system, the influences within the family that are very much pushing somebody into the way in which they respond unconsciously. By making the unconscious conscious through questioning, then you begin to bring empowerment and change. And also an element called something called the imago, our unconscious relationship templates. These are the relationship templates that we inherit from our significant people in our lives. In purest form, it's inherited from our parents. We unconsciously learn how to relate based on the observation of our parents. And so we look at the imago, not just in intimate relationships, but how we learn templates to respond to others around it. And we've got an element here with imago dialogue, how to talk to somebody and basically understand what that template is. Module 6, can't do anything like this without, especially when we're looking at the route we're going through, with the family, with relationships, identity, etc., coming through to attachments. We need to have an understanding of attachments, and very importantly, what happens when they go wrong. So we're looking at the concept of attachment trauma, a traumatic experience that we achieve, or some people have very early age, based around the way in which their intimate relationships with parental figures and significant others are being conducted. So something that's really started to come to the fore again now is this concept of attachment trauma, and how attachment issues in childhood that have created a traumatic experience can be brought into current adult experience as well. So we're looking at attachment styles. We're also looking at how attachment turns into attachment trauma, and the psychosocial issues that may well be influencing the development of some of healthy attachments, but also the development of unhealthy attachments and traumatic attachments that comes through from that. And also, interesting concepts. There's some very interesting, just a little bit of psychoneurology here. It's only a small part of it, but it shows how this concept of early attachment issues, how it can affect the functioning of the brain. So a little bit of neurology on that is we're bringing in there, just as an understanding. And then the consolidation of the course, that's the last module that we have. And this basically will give time to reflect on and explore one's own unique template for change, based around the material that we've taught you on this particular Certificate in Integrative Psychotherapy course. So bringing in your own experience and creating your own model for change allows you to look at and think about what you already know, how to work with people. If you are thinking, I need other therapy processes, how that can be brought in. If you're not doing psychotherapy, but working with others, there's also a useful way of thinking about how to interact with others in a more unique way that is empowering and healthy. And we do have quite a challenging case history to look at that gets you to think around how you would apply work here within the context of integrative psychotherapy. Now, what I've certainly found, my own personal experience as an integrative psychotherapist and learning IP over a long period of time, is it's helped the way in which I think about my job, step away from the therapy aspect of my job, but my teaching aspect, my own interpersonal skills, the way I relate to other people, the way I understand other people, and how I can challenge my own prejudices and misrepresentations that I have there. So, as you know, we have a variety of different approvals and accreditations that are out there from around the world. So, just a little bit about when the course begins. The next CIP course begins on the 16th of August 2025. We do have an early bird special that's running until the 5th of August 2025, and Ariska and Nazrat are your contacts to talk about that. We also have something that we've pulled together. It's first time we've brought this in, and there's two pictures of the same thing, just one's in sterling, one's in ringgit. But we've got basically a marketing tool package that comes as part of this. So if you book up by the 5th of August, you'll also get the opportunity to have a couple of business card templates, poster and flyer templates, brochure templates, social media templates, and very importantly, 2 one-on-one marketing consultations with members of our marketing team. So 2 1-hour sessions that are available for you within that element there. And these are your contacts. And so, Nazrat, and various areas they look after. So yeah, use the QR codes to add them. I'm always wonderfully impressed by how we generate QR codes and a bit of the technology culture that I haven't quite integrated with, but they are there in order to help you. If you've got any questions, they're your contacts, and they will be very happy to answer them. And basically, I mean, obviously, if there's any more questions, but kind of, I like this strap line that we have: kindness in another's trouble. Kind of sums up what therapy is about. It kind of sums up what therapists do. I look forward to seeing you on the course. I look forward to seeing you somewhere and continuing to share this wonderful, amazing world of psychotherapy that we all inhabit. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.